Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, where we talk about celebrity gossip, entertainment news, fashion, and royals. This week, we're going to talk about the stories we just covered at Celebrity.com, including sad stories about the sudden loss of Luke Perry and about Alex Trebek revealing his cancer diagnosis. We also talk about Kate Beckinsale and Pete Davidson making out in public. Chandra will explain the new Game of Thrones trailer. There are some spoilers in that part for previously aired episodes. We cover the royals, including appearances by Duchesses Meghan and Kate. We'll also discuss Kim Kardashian's hideous fashion, Taylor Swift's essay for Elle, and Gwyneth Paltrow taking credit for popularizing the gluten-free diet. Chandra and I talk about how long it took for stories about Michael Jackson and R. Kelly to reach critical mass. I also talked to Hecate for the first time. We discuss the documentary Leaving Neverland, and she reveals the origin of her pen name. Chandra explains how she came up with the name Kaiser, and I talk about how I started the site. We end with our weekly feature, the Comments of the Week. Our segment about Michael Jackson is from minutes 24 to 32. We do not go into details, but we do talk about child abuse in general in case you'd like to skip that part. A quick programming note, I'm going to get a minor medical procedure next week. I don't think it'll affect the podcast at all, but just in case it does, I wanted to let you know. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebitchy.com, and I write as Celebitchy.
Hi, I'm Chandra, the head writer for Celebitchy, and I write as Kaiser.
This week sucked. Oh my God, this week sucked.
Last week we had some good stories, and then this week the post-Oscar crash happened. I've been struggling for stories all week.
And it's been really sad. We lost Luke Perry. He is 52 years old, and we didn't know what we had until he passed because everyone had all these wonderful stories about this guy. He meant a lot to us growing up, and then he was just an all-around good guy with no ego.
Yeah, he just seemed so low-key, and that's what all the stories were about, too. It was like, yeah, he had a farm in Tennessee. He looked after his neighbors. He was always around to change a light bulb. All the stories were so completely sweet.
He just seemed like he was a very nice guy, and he tried every day. And 52 is way too young.
Well, apparently his father died very young of a heart attack. I mean, there's like a family history there.
Okay.
It was quietly devastating. I was a big fan of that show, Major Crimes. It was a spin-off of The Closer, which was like my favorite show ever.
I remember that.
Yeah, and Major Crimes, you know, it was a police squad, and then there was this one cop who consulted on a TV show because it was based in LA. The star of the TV show within the TV show was Luke Perry, and he came and guest starred on Major Crimes a few times.
Nice.
It was this self-referential but really funny, actorly kind of portrayal, and he was awesome in it.
And everybody loved him on Riverdale. And that show is very popular, so...
Our generation, we remember him from 90210. I mean, that's just the most classic thing.
You linked that nice article that Joanna at Laney Gossip wrote about what he meant to us and how he was this heartthrob who was also a vulnerable guy who loved a strong woman with Brenda Walsh, Shannon Doherty's character. And that was a really great essay. There have been a lot of good essays about what he meant to us as a generation.
What I also liked is that she kind of avoided saying how devastating it was for girls of our generation when Dylan left Brenda for Kelly. That was like the biggest deal, that Brenda went away for that summer, and then when the summer was over, Dylan was with Kelly. That was heartbreaking. I'm still not over it.
So I graduated in 91, and that show aired from 90 to 2000. So I wasn't watching it as much as women just a little bit younger than me were. But yeah. I remember when the finale aired, and my friend was like, we got to watch 90210. I'm like, okay. They're doing that reboot. He wasn't going to be involved in that anyway because, you know, he was smart that way. But
yeah, I like how he avoided all the drama of post 90210 stuff. You know, he just kind of did his own thing, which was cool.
Yeah. He was working steadily, but yeah, he didn't get into that. That wasn't who he was. And he wasn't into the fame or that status. And then we also heard this week about Alex Trebek, and we watch Jeopardy every night at my house. It's just sad. Very, very sad.
It is sad. And pancreatic cancer is a real bitch. I think we just need to prepare ourselves for how bad the stories are going to get. And I'm not trying to be negative. I just think
I understand. He wants to keep working. That's what he knows, and that's what he's really good at. And we're used to seeing him every night. They tape a bunch at once, so he can probably take a little time off when he needs to. But that's...
I mean, it's stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He's going to need some time off, and it's going to happen quickly.
Patrick Swayze, didn't he have pancreatic cancer?
I think so.
When he was going through it, he got this special laser treatment, cyber knife or something. They have different treatments now, and I'm sure he'll get the best treatments. And yeah.
Let's move on.
I wanted to talk about Kate Beckinsale making out with Pete Davidson courtside at the Rangers game. And you were like, I don't really care. Nobody cares.
It's not that it's not a story. It is a story.
It's not a big story. They wanted to make it a big story, and it's not.
It's just kind of gross and shady. I feel icky about both of them now.
You can't unsee that with them tonguing each other, and it did make me lose my appetite.
I used to think, good God, Kate, you could do so much better. And now I kind of think, oh, they're both just kind of wrong.
But in that way, they're right for each other. They're both wrong. It took her exactly a month since she looked ashamed to be seen with him to be on the Jumbotron with him. Becoming a meme. It took her 1 month. And right before she had that Amazon series to promote.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. I do.
Of course. So Anthony from Queer Eye was next to them looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. Oh my God. That might be his default look. I saw an interview with Karamo Brown, his co-Queer Eye guy, just being like, oh, Anthony always zones out. He probably didn't even notice. I'm sure he noticed, though.
Yeah. I mean, if Kate Beckinsale and Pete Davidson are tonguing each other in front of you, I'd be like, oh, I do not feel well. I need to concentrate on something else.
Next to my eyes, no, save me.
There's so much embarrassment on her behalf. Oh, God, I cannot believe that you're in your 40s and you're doing this, Kate. Oh, yeah. It's so embarrassing.
You're just so ashamed for her. It's like secondary cringe. There was a meme of her making out with Pete and Anthony next to them. And Anthony was labeled good guy, no baggage, calls you back or whatever. And Pete was the guy you have to fix, who's trash. And that pretty much explains Pete. And then she commented on it, oh, Anthony is gay, if that helps clarify it all. And I was like, wow, she does not really get memes. That just shows me that she does not understand what a meme is. She should have taken it a step farther and talked about how she was fixing Pete or something, showed that she was in on the joke. She's not. She is the joke. Yeah.
That's so much embarrassment.
It was a lot of embarrassment.
All right.
So another big story that everybody loved this week was Game of Thrones trailer came out. I haven't been watching it the past couple seasons, so I would like you to explain what this means.
I mean, we've been waiting for so long. I actually had to go back and read some of my old recaps from the last season. The last season ended with Jon Snow and Daenerys. They boned for the very first time.
Ooh.
And that was the end of last season. And Jon Snow and Daenerys don't know that they're related. It's she's his aunt.
What?
It's true.
So I have to put a spoiler warning before this, just for people who haven't gotten to where we are in Game of Thrones.
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since the last season.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
All right, so they don't know that they're related. And at the very last part of last season, Bran Stark was the one who was piecing it all together, that they were actually related and that Jon Snow is the son of the crown prince of the Targaryen and Lyanna Stark.
So Bran is the little boy.
Yeah, he's the little boy, but he's now the mystic, the seer. He can see everything, past and present and future.
Okay. When I was watching it, he was having those visions. Okay.
Yeah, so basically the new season is just going to be absolutely crazy, but everyone is going to start to come together at Winterfell. That's what they're building up for. Jon Snow and all of the living Starks are going to be at Winterfell with Daenerys. I think Jaime Lannister, it looks like he's coming to Winterfell too, to help them all fight the army of the undead,
Okay.
the White Walkers. And Brienne of Tarth is going to be there, and
Ooh.
all of the remaining wildlings, like that big redheaded guy, Tormund, he's going to be there.
Okay, I remember him vaguely.
Basically, like, everybody except for Cersei. Cersei's hanging out in King's Landing, drinking wine, and laughing about how all of these fucking idiots are gonna go fight White Walkers.
So she's gonna be the last one standing.
Yeah, basically. She's gonna be sitting on the throne, smirking to herself and drinking wine.
That sounds about right. That sounds good. I'll root for her.
But, like, everyone is, like, panicking and crying because Arya looks like she's in danger. And no one is prepared for the idea of Arya possibly dying.
Yes, we've all been rooting for her.
Even though her storyline has been so gothic and dark, no one is prepared for it. And what if something happens to her? But I read so many of, like, these really funny comments and saw some memes about character journeys for all of the Stark kids. Like, all of them have had all these huge changes, and then they're like, and Sansa got a bigger fur coat. It's a little bit true. No, she's like a power broker in her own right now.
So that'll be fun. That's coming April 17th.
Yes.
Cool. And we have that reader who's postponed her trip to Italy so she can watch it. We're rooting for her. We talked about her on the second episode, I think.
And there were some royal stories this week. Nothing huge. I think it's interesting that Meghan she keeps on making appearances and she keeps adding more stuff to her schedule. And everyone's like, when is her maternity leave going to start?
When is she due? Like, it seems like she's due any day. She came out on stage to that Wee Day with Prince Harry. That was really cute.
I thought she didn't look like she was wearing any makeup. She probably wasn't expecting to get pulled on stage.
She had like natural makeup on, I think.
Yeah, other people thought that maybe she was expecting it. But she says she's due in late April. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it looks like she's due sooner than that. But I was huge at the end. Maybe she's just getting bigger. Not that I didn't mean to call her that.
No, but I mean, she's looked big for her trimester for a while now.
Yes. Royal twins.
Yeah.
No. Gossip dream. No, that's not happening.
And Kate's been making a lot of appearances too.
They all went together to that special thing for Prince Charles, which I have no idea what that is. A date he became a prince or something.
Yeah, it's the 50th anniversary of his investiture as the Prince of Wales. Like,
okay,
when you become Prince of Wales, like, you have to go through this huge ceremony in Wales at a castle. This year is the 50th anniversary. Like, it wasn't actually on that date.
I wonder, is there video of that? And did he get like an awesome crown?
Yeah, there is video of it.
Oh, cool. I want to see that now.
And there are lots of photos of it too. The Queen, I mean, she looks so young in those old photos, and he was like 19 or 20 when it happened.
Oh, wow.
And he did wear a little coronet or something. I don't know.
Neat.
You wanted to talk about Kim Kardashian's fashion.
I was going to make fun of Kate's dress that she had made because...
Oh, God. Kate's dress.
So one of my Twitter friends, her name is O'Reilly, tweeted me that it looked like one of those dolls that you buy at the back of like Parade magazine, like a prairie doll. And I know exactly what she means, and I found it. So it had like these little puffy sleeves, a little puffy collar with like lace scalloping at the collar. It was long. It had tons of little buttons on it. And then you reported today that she had it custom made to look like that.
It's bad enough that she seeks out these clothes that look like they belong from the costume department of 9 to 5. Like, that's always what I think when I look at Kate. I always think, well, this is something that Diana would have worn in 1983. And this is something that a character would have worn in 9 to 5.
But like, not even the fun parts of the 80s. Like, not even like the power suit, you know, bold print. That's what I like.
She looks like a secretary from Omaha in 1985.
It's like the frumpy 80s. I bring it if you're going to do 80s. Like, don't,
But to actually like go to a tailor or a dressmaker and say, this is exactly what I want. Please put 20 million friggin' buttons down my bust. And please give me a really high ruffled neck. Yeah, that too.
Like, you could do one of those things. Like, you could have puffy sleeves, puffy shoulders and bishop sleeves, or you could have a ruffled neck. Like, you can't put them all together in one. Anyway.
The high ruffled neck, the puffy sleeves, and the buttons.
She's really leaning right into that look. I like talking about dumb fashion, and that's why I want to talk about Kim Kardashian. You're like, who cares? Nobody cares. I was like, well, I like making fun of her outfits. So she went back to Paris, and you wrote that it's been, 2 years since she got robbed in Paris?
It's been 2.5 years, because it was October 2016.
Okay, good memory.
I had to look it up. I was like, God damn, has it been that long?
Time goes very fast when you're writing about celebrities.
Yeah.
So she wore this ridiculous head-to-toe leopard print. She looked like a cartoon character because she had like full leopard print, leopard jacket, and then leopard boots.
All right, this is what bothered me. Okay, I like an animal print. I really do.
As an accent.
If you gave me an animal print coat, a leopard print coat, I would wear the fuck out of it. I love...
Yeah, fake fur leopard print would be cute.
Yeah, something like that. Like, if Kim had just worn the leopard print cat suit and no coat and no booties, I think that would have looked okay. If she had just worn the coat with an all-black outfit, that would have looked awesome. Altogether, it was so trashy.
She did that the first time, and that was just skin tight, and it was like, okay, that is too much, Kim. You're. And then the next night, she wore like a leopard body stocking with a bra and panties built into it. And I liked the velvet coat, I have to say. I have a similar velvet coat. It's like thrift. I love it.
Yeah, the velvet coat was actually okay. And as I said in the post, if I had the sheer whatever as a pair of pantyhose or tights, I think it would have looked cute.
Yeah, those pantyhose would look cute, but just that whole outfit. And then she posted all the
Instagrams were ridiculous.
Yes.
All right. And the two big stories from this week that were sort of interesting and funny and odd. All right. The first one was Taylor Swift covering American Elle Magazine. And instead of giving a cover interview, she sat down and wrote the 30 life lessons that she's learned as she's about to turn 30 later on this year. And a lot of the life lessons were typical. Take better care of your skin. Don't use Sharpies on your eyebrows. And
did she really write that?
Yeah, she did. She used to use a Sharpie on her eyebrows.
I needed to read that because I just saw your excerpts, and that is funny. I like what she said about not beating herself up for gaining weight or whatever.
Yeah. But the gossip element to the 30 life lessons was that she's still not over Kim Kardashian and Kanye West situation. It all happened in 2016.
Can I just say... Let me just say this. Please listen to our first podcast again.
Yeah, exactly.
To the user questions, okay.
But she's still not over it, and I don't understand why she would choose to bring that up just so she can play the victim and attempt to rewrite history again.
She owned the snake meme. Like, that was kind of clever, the way she incorporated the giant snake in her act and how she got over that. She felt very victimized by that. She got over it.
I'm sorry.
You know how I'm trying to phrase this. She obviously did, because she's still writing about it like that.
Yeah.
It's cool that she did that, but then just let it go.
Yeah, that's the inherent contradiction of Taylor Swift. It's that she wants to put herself out there as, oh, I'm owning the snake. I am the snake. I am so powerful. You don't even know. And then she's also the same girl who whines about it constantly.
That whole thing, that was ridiculous. So that's Taylor Swift. And she's trying to be like Beyonce. But Beyonce doesn't even talk. Like, she'll let somebody else say something for her. She doesn't need to talk.
No.
She's not at that level. She can only imitate. Lainey had this thing today saying that Taylor had given a shout out to Jamila Jamil from The Good Place. And Jamila's cause is, body positivity. And she gets in a lot of feuds with celebrities calling them out for doing sponcons with these BS diet companies. Lainey pointed out that Jamila has been calling out Kim Kardashian. So it's very much an enemy of my enemy is my friend thing.
Yeah, that might be part of it. But I also think that Jamila Jamil needs to calm the fuck down a little bit. She thinks that she's like the only one championing these causes of, body positivity. And she goes way overboard. Like, Karl Lagerfeld wasn't even cold, and she was bitching him out for like his comments on bodies and fat shaming and whatever.
That I forgot that about her. Yes,
I think it's kind of a problematic alliance for both Jamila and Taylor, but maybe they're both assholes, so maybe it'll work out.
It takes one to know one. And then, today, the unexpectedly awesome story today was Gwyneth Paltrow's New York Times interview. And I have said before on the podcast that she reminds me of those bullshit managerial buzzword generators, like the amount of crap that comes out of her mouth. So she was talking about male and female energy, and it was just so fucking idiotic. And then repeated like crap about how she she invented gluten-free stuff. Oh, gluten-free, yeah. And then wellness is free, nature is free, whole foods are free. No, they're not, honey. Where have you been living? And I like how you wrote, I'm going to quote you, "Goop is what happens when you live inside your own ass," like Gwyneth.
Yeah, that's her whole thing. And it just like hit me as I was reading that New York Times story. Gwyneth is her own consumer.
Yeah, she buys her own hype.
Yeah, she believes in what she's selling because she's that friggin' stupid.
And arrogant.
Oh my God, her arrogance.
Yes.
Have you noticed that it's getting worse? I've been covering Gwyneth for years now. I can really see how it's getting worse with her. She's getting more up her own ass. I don't know if she doesn't have anyone telling her, "You're an idiot. Like, you don't know what you're talking about."
Maybe she has people telling her how great she is, and that's just shoving her farther up there. But even if she doesn't, she'll repeat that story. Remember the story about how she had the ass of a 23-year-old stripper or something?
Yeah, because Gwyneth invented yoga as well as inventing gluten-free food. She invented all of that. And she kept on repeating that story in interview after interview about how she bitched out a young woman for asking about yoga. Oh my God.
If you've done yoga before, I invented yoga. I'm the reason you have this job.
She's getting worse. A hand to God, she's getting worse.
But okay, I'm looking at her feminine energy. Like, what? I don't even...
Yeah, feminine and masculine energy in the corporate world. I don't know what her point was at all. She was just talking out of her ass, which is where she lives.
Oh my gosh. So we had sad stories this week. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I do have a talk that I'm going to include with Kat Hecate about Leaving Neverland. Both of us watched the first episode, which was really hard to take. And you've been covering those stories, and we've been talking about Michael Jackson's legacy as a predator, what that means to his kids, and about, R. Kelly just freaking out on Gayle King.
I asked to talk about this for just a little bit because, once again, it's about our ages. I've covered R. Kelly for a while now, and I remember when there was this shift in conversation about him in like 2013. I actually went and looked it up. Yes. 2013 was when we as a society decided to like really cancel him. And this was before Me Too. This was before Time's Up. like, oh yeah, this guy is a serial predator. He's absolutely canceled. And so it was weird to me to see this movement years later, like right now, saying, oh, we have to mute him. We already muted him.
I don't think that the radio stations and the power brokers did. What happens is you and I and people like us who are watching the news and paying attention know, but the wider society and the people making decisions about what is available, to buy or play or stream don't.
Yeah, and R. Kelly is probably not a great example of that. But Michael Jackson, Jesus Christ, you and I lived through all of that.
All the trials.
I mean, for years and years, there were lawsuits and conversations and these horrible interviews that he gave about sleeping with young boys and how it's completely innocent.
The Bashir interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, like 10 years after his death, a whole new generation is like, oh my God, he was a child molester? Yes, he was. We all knew it at the time.
I think it did take Me Too. And it took, like the thing with Cosby, it took Hannibal Buress talking about it in his stand-up for people to pay attention to women. And there'd already been over a dozen women who had come out at that time, but they just hadn't gotten publicity. They hadn't gotten enough coverage. And it hadn't reached a fever pitch. So we get these new documentaries and we're finally looking at these predators for what they are. You and I know, and people who are reading our site every day know, but it doesn't filter down to the everyday person who doesn't pay as much attention.
I guess, but I feel like a lot of these breaking points for the stories, that all of a sudden R. Kelly is canceled. All of a sudden we should stop listening to Michael Jackson. Yeah, they've been problematic for years. And it also bugs me when we're still giving these people platforms.
Like R. Kelly's.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of Gayle King. I think she's a really tremendous journalist. I wish that she had not given R. Kelly that time and that space to speak.
Who knows if that was her decision?
I mean, it's not her fault entirely, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wish that media outlets in total would stop giving him that platform.
This is media. This is what media does, and we are media too. I hope we don't do this. But this bullshit both sides thing, one side is telling the truth and one side is not. And that's true with science. That's true with facts. That's true with
Donald Trump.
His predator. Yeah, with Trump. And people are doing this both sidesism. And look where we are now. It's truth and facts are not valued. Hopefully we'll come out of this at some point. But yeah. I spoke with Hecate, Kat, about Leaving Neverland after we both watched the first episode. As I mentioned in the intro, we don't get into the details, but we do talk about child abuse in general, like I just did in my talk with Chandra. And so it might not be for everybody. And here's that section. So I'm talking to Kat. She
Hello.
writes, hi. She writes as, can you pronounce your name?
Hecate.
Hecate. So both of us watched the first episode of Leaving Neverland, the documentary about Michael Jackson being an abusive piece of shit and the fallout on the adult men and the families.
Yes. I have not watched the second one yet. I'm watching that tonight.
Okay. I haven't watched it either. And the first one was so hard to take. I don't know if I'm going to watch the second one.
It was devastating. I'm interested. I'm assuming the second one is going to approach the trials themselves.
Oh, okay.
I also feel like this is where we really get into the parents and the fallout with the decisions they made.
Did you see that documentary, Abducted in Plain Sight?
No, I remember you talking about it, and I couldn't bring myself to watch it.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Okay.
It's a good documentary for what it is. It is very hard to take. You're just like, wow, I can't believe these people let this man have access to their daughter over and over again. But the families were groomed too. That family was groomed too. And that's what Oprah said too.
I absolutely understand what Oprah was trying to do in her interview and how much it reinforces the message about the seduction. I thought it was a really good explanation of the grooming process for those two men.
And then they kept showing the picture of them as little boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were like, wow, they are little.
And just every once in a while reminding you, I was 7 years old.
Yeah. That Wade was saying that he was 7, and he kept saying he was 7. And I was like, wow, that is really young and really sad.
It was.
And they had remarkably similar stories about what happened to them and how they were abused, and how it was a party being a kid there because he set up his whole estate to groom and abuse kids. I don't regret watching it, but it's something you can't unlearn.
Right. Part of the reason that I actually held off watching it as well is because I knew I wasn't going to listen to him after this. And I love his music.
It's hard to hear his music. I can't listen to stupid Nelly anymore.
Yeah.
After what I know about Nelly.
That's exactly why I watched it. Because years ago, when the trial was going on and so forth, I was willing to turn a blind eye with the rest of the country because I wasn't willing to give up my love of his music. I need to know the truth and I need to make that decision. So that's why I watched it. I'll finish it, but it's not fun. It's not easy.
Thanks for watching that. And thank you for watching Surviving R. Kelly. Chandra and I didn't watch that. We've talked quite a bit on the podcast about why we cover stories the way we do. And a lot of it is, it's just hard to take.
I like that our focus so far has really been on the survivors and their story and the effects of the documentary instead of the acts themselves.
And I'm glad HBO is standing up to the estate of Michael Jackson. I'm glad they have the clout that they do. And these men are brave for telling their stories. I'm sure there's many more. Okay, so let's talk about the user questions this week. Our number is 434-218-3219, and you can text us or leave us a voice message there. And our email is info@celebrity.com, and we're on Twitter and Instagram. Nice Girl asked in our podcast post last week, I've always wondered, how did you all come up with your pen names? And you have a really interesting pen name, and I don't really know. So if you could explain it.
Yeah, I don't know either. It was just something I made up when I was commenting on Celebrity. And
okay.
How do I say this? I used to comment, and then I still comment on maybe 2 other sites, but I use a different name. But if you look carefully,
oh my God, really?
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. They're tennis sites, actually.
They're what?
They're tennis sites.
Oh, that's cool that you comment on tennis sites.
But I don't use the name Kaiser. I use other names.
Okay. I don't comment on any other sites.
Oh, okay. But I just kind of made it up. I wasn't thinking of anyone specific. I just was like, hey, Kaiser. I like K names.
I always thought it was Karl Lagerfeld's nickname or something, and that's where you got it?
Yeah, but I wasn't really thinking about Karl Lagerfeld at the time. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Well, I like that name. I'm glad you came up with it.
I don't have a real interesting backstory for it. I'm sorry.
Kat does. She just explained that. And she got it from Penny Dreadful. Like, I thought it is like a whole Greek goddess or something, but it also was a name in Penny Dreadful, and she loves that series. So I came up with Celebrity when I came up with the site, obviously. My kid was 1 year old. I was living in Switzerland, and I was reading Pop Sugar and Delisted, and I loved them. And I wanted to give my own take on gossip. And I have been a usability specialist, a web designer, that sort of work. And I knew how to do the tech aspect of it. And so I started the site. I wanted to come up with a unique name that captured what I wanted to do, which was be snarky and bitchy. So I came up with Celebrity. I had taken one of those evening courses, like on running a small business. The guy who taught it was a lawyer, and he said that you have to come up with a name for your business that's not based on your name, so people don't always associate it with you. So that's how I came up with Celebrity.
Yeah, that's cool. It is. I've always thought it was a cool name.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted it to be easy enough for people to remember. And I had made sites before and tried to tell people to always pick really simple domain names, and the domain name was available. So, and here's Hecate, Kat, explaining how she got her unique pen name.
I wish it was a sexier reason. The truth is, Hecate is one of my favorite goddesses because she has to do with the moon and witchcraft and sorcery and dark magic and all that. Ooh. She's a Greek goddess, and in later incarnations, she's three-sided. So she appears as three bodies. A lot of the statues have her as three bodies, and a lot of people think that's representative of three phases of the moon. She obviously has always fascinated me. However, honestly, the reason is because I was heavily into Penny Dreadful at the time that I took the job, and there was a character, a witch named Hecate. So it was just on my mind because I was so into that show at that time.
And so let's move on to the comments of the week. I've been doing this thing where I try to pick, the past couple podcasts, I've tried to pick a nice comment, like a touching comment. We have a lot of people who share their stories in our comments. And somehow you wrote about Khloe Kardashian just taking men back no matter what and being a doormat. And a lot of women said that reminded them of their own abusive relationships. I don't think that applies to Khloe as much. I just think she's a clinger.
I thought those comments were interesting, and I have been thinking about that. Like, am I misreading Khloe? I don't think I am. I think that Khloe is just a melodramatic asshole. Like, I really do. I think she's just a clinger. She doesn't understand how to be in a relationship of equals. Yeah. I think she's just an idiot with a bad picker.
If you think about it, she does pick guys who cheat on her, and those are the guys who are emotionally abusive, who do run hot and cold. She might have some of that going on. She's perpetuating that too.
Yeah, I don't think that Tristan is emotionally abusive. I think he just never gave a shit, and she always kind of clung to him and tried to force him into a relationship. Anyway.
But people were sharing their own stories of abuse, and I wanted to talk about Jaded Brit. She wrote, reading comments on the site has been invaluable to me. And then she said that it's hard for her to share personal information, with people in her life, and that this forum provides the best kind of support, and that CB's Raiders provide a daily lifeline, which was really nice. So I just wanted to talk about that and how nice it was that people were connecting in the comments to that post.
Yeah, there have been a few stories where I think people share their own personal stories, especially, in the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp story. People were talking about financial abuse, with the partner, and that kind of emotional manipulation of a man who won't let it go even, years after the divorce.
That's what happened to Sofia Vergara with her ex suing her over some stupid embryos.
I mean, he's still suing her.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
It's still in the court system.
Whatever. That is abuse through the court system. Mm-hmm. So my comment of the week, the funny comment, was in the Gwyneth Paltrow post. I hope we get some follow-up posts to that, because that is fun.
All the comments in that Gwyneth post were hilarious. People were absolutely disgusted. They were disgusted with her. And
you were calling it on her for years. And people were like, no, she's just a little hippy dippy. There's a call for what she offers. And you called it. I mean, that she finally is really going all in with this ridiculousness. Anyway, this is the lead up comment. Tempest Prognosticator said, I wonder what it's like in GP's head. Just for curiosity's sake, I'd like to spend 5 minutes in there. And then the comment of the week is from Swack. Would you even last 5 minutes?
I don't think I could. But my comment of the week was from, I loved all the comments on the Game of Thrones trailer story, because everyone is so excited, and you could just feel everyone just sort of vibrating with tension and excitement. And Lucy said, yesterday I complained about the lack of Gendry, but today I get some Gendry. There is a dragon god. Everyone is so happy. Oh, we get to see the dragons.
Which is Gendry?
Gendry he was Arya's little friend when they were basically like in chains and being sold around as like what amounted to like Westerosi slaves.
Okay, I think I remember.
Well, everyone loves Gendry because he's really good looking, first of all. And he also disappeared for like 3 seasons. He was put in a boat and told to like row to King's Landing, and he went missing for 3 seasons, and then all of a sudden he appeared. And everyone was like, Gendry, finally! But there are a lot of comments about the other guy that everyone finds attractive, and we just know him as the faceless man or a man. And so everyone's like, where is a man?
I need a man.
Anyway.
All right. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches. Thank you for listening.
I should have put this at the beginning. I'm getting an ablation next Wednesday. I do not know if I can record next week, and I'll find out how I feel. My friend who had it done said it's no big deal and I'll be back on my feet, but other people say it takes longer than we think to recover. So other people say it takes longer to recover than you think. I'm rephrasing that so I don't have to cut it because I phrased it so weird. I phrased it so weird. I like backwards.
All of a sudden you're turning into Yoda.
Just thinking that. I was thinking I was like Yoda speak. Recover, I will.
Take a long time, exactly. It will.
I was just thinking that. Oh my gosh. Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. If you could please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or your platform of choice, it will really help us, and we appreciate it a lot. You can call us and leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our website is celebrity.com, and we're also on Twitter under that handle and on Instagram as Celebrity Official. Thanks again.